two things, introduction. Well, let me get in the camera, right? Everybody should have something called, there was something we put in your folder called key to variablelist.com or something like that. Okay. That's the variable list we want to use in the exercises that we'll be doing. So, what we saw earlier was, the numbers of variables, the sequence of variables as they occur in the ICM computer code. That key to variable list that you have is the order in which they appear in the snapshot file. So when we process the snapshot file, that's the one we're going to use. And I've got a little list here in any event where we'll go through it as we go through the class. So recall what I said earlier is we are mimicking what we do with the big model. So there are the 3 steps. We run the model. Then we have to go into an output file, which is massive and almost unusable to humans, extract the information that we want, and then finally we have to process the extracted information into something, a graph or whatever it is that we can use. So we're going to, and clearly if you've got a 50,000 cell model, those extractions and those processing are extensive, so we've done something very simple for the purpose of the classroom. We don't read the snapshot file, all right? I'll tell you right now, but for the moment, for the classroom, okay. So everybody, let's, I'll sit down. Part of me wants to be up at the screen. On the other hand, I simply have to have the keyboard, so be it. Everybody should have a file called exercise1.tar, okay? Yep. So that's the complete exercise we're going to do today. And what we're going to do is a tar file is like tape archive and retrieve. In any event, that's all the subdirectories, everything put together. What we've got to do is extract that. So what we're going to type is tar minus xvf exercise 1, I think, .tar. Let's try that. And look at that. Okay, so what we're doing is we're taking this big file that's put together, this tarred file, and we're going to break it apart now into all the little pieces. So did everybody get that? Tar, T-A-R, we'll just bring it back. There it is, Queen, the command, tar.
What folder is it in?
It's in your 30-box home directory. And Dominic, you should have this, yeah, okay. I don't know how the water quality executable is going to work, but you should have all this. Okay. Okay, everybody feels good about this?
Yeah, if you want to go back to your comedy space.
But I want to be in.
This is going to make exciting video, right? But anyway. Now, just LS is list, right? So this should be, you should see an exercise 1, it's showing up in blue on the screen, and an exercise 1.tar. So let's get into that exercise 1 folder. CD is change directory. So we're going to change directory to exercise 1. If you're not familiar with the bash shell, if you type the first 1 or 2 characters and hit the tab, it'll fill in as much as it can for you. So I go quickly, but in any event. Okay. So we're in exercise 1. We're going to LS. We're going to list again, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. I've already gone through this exercise, so actually the results of the exercise are here already, but we'll pretend they aren't, and we'll go through this step by step. This exercise has any number of purposes. We'll try to go over 3 purposes. One is, how do you start the model from absolute scratch? So we're going to start from absolute scratch. The second point of the exercise is how long to steady state. If we make a change, how long does it take the model to get to steady state? And third is a process we're going to call looping. And oftentimes, when we run the model, we don't always start from ground zero. We don't always start from 1. We start from a previous run. And we go through a process we call looping. So we're going to loop the model several times. Okay? Recall from Monday, the thing that really runs the model is this file over here, wqm_con.npt. Right? That's the control file. That specifies the parameters for the run, and most importantly, it specifies the files that go in, the files that come out. Now, at the moment, that wqm_con.input is set from where I left it when I finished doing this exercise. So we're going to go into that file and we're going to initialize it. We're going to forget that I've done this exercise. We're going to start from scratch. If you can do this command if you like, and you don't have to do it, but I'm going to list the inputs just for myself. Let's see, what am I looking for? Okay. In there is this, it's a good thing I looked because I didn't know if I remembered this name, but there's a file in there called wqm_i3i g3 particles. And that is the initial conditions file we're going to start with. Ah. Okay. As an aside, my glasses are on the car seat in the parking lot in Albuquerque, so these are from CVS, right? Okay. This file that we're working with right now is a very simple file. When you impose initial conditions on the model, you have 2 options. Option 1 is uniform initial conditions. You put 1 number everywhere. Option 2 is you specify all variables and all model cells. Clearly, if you've got a 50,000 cell model and 30 variables, to specify all of those is quite difficult. So when we start from nothing, we use these things we call uniform initial conditions. So what you've got up there are the init conc up here. These are initial conditions that will be imposed on the model uniformly. So for example, 20 parts per thousand salinity, 20 degrees centigrade for temperature. You've also got a set of uniform initial conditions that you're going to impose in the sediment diagenesis model. So that's the contents of this file. Let's see. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's go edit our control file. Is everybody familiar with the VI editor? Anybody who isn't, raise your hand. Uh-oh. Well, we'll go slowly. VI is the clunkiest editor you could imagine. It was probably invented by engineers in white shirts with pencil holders in their pocket back in the 1950s. So, but nevertheless, it remains, right? Okay. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go down. I'm in the editor. I'm going to go down a little bit. This is mostly set up for the 30-box model, and it's set up for a 10-year run. And we went over these parameters on Monday, so I'm not going to go over every single one. I am going to go over the ones that we're going to change. So I'm going down, I'm going down. Okay, here's the one I want. So over here, you have something that's called ICIC. So remember the way that the control file is set up. You have sort of a title line or something that tells you what the variable below is. So if you scroll down as I did, we're on line 109. You'll see something called ICIC. You also, if you want to make your life simple, is this going to work? Let's try. I don't know VI so much myself. Slash is the search command, okay? Again, invented by somebody who had a pocket protector. But if you go slash ICIC, you'll get down to the line that we want.
But it said, oh.
Everybody's found ICIC? Okay, so right now that's set to binary. So what we're going to go is, I'm going to take my cursor and I'm going to put it just before the B in binary. I'm going to type uppercase R. Uppercase R is replace. Now we're going to replace, whatever I type is going to replace what's in my file. And I'm going to type in uppercase letters uniform. Binary is the option to use as initial conditions the output from a previous model. We'll go over that. But when we start from nothing, we're imposing uniform initial conditions. So we need to tell the model that we've got uniform initial conditions. And after you type uniform, up in the upper left corner of your keyboard, there's an escape key. We're going to type escape. Hope I've got all this right. Well, what the heck, right? If we make a mistake, there's a lesson in that too, right? I think that's all we have to change. I hope that's all we have to change there. Now, I'm just going down one line at a time. This is clunky, but what the heck? Can I make this bigger? Yeah. Okay, that's what I want. Okay, so once again, I'm going to put my cursor, I'm going to put it on the O of outputs. Now, all right, so we've told the model we're going to use uniform initial conditions. Now we need to tell the model, where are those initial conditions? So once again, uppercase R, get into replace. And those initial conditions are in inputs slash WQM underscore ICI dot, it's G3 particles, right? Was it an uppercase G? Does anybody? Uppercase, okay. Does that look good? Wait a minute, let's try this. G3 on PRT-CLS. Okay, so I think that's going to do it. So we've told the code that we're using uniform initial conditions. Now we're telling the code where do we want to go for those uniform initial conditions. And when you've typed that, the old escape key. Everybody, we're okay? We can move on? I see some okay signs. Okay.